Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Ballin After, where we are looking ahead to the Irish Men's Cup Final this Saturday night in the National Basketball Arena in Tallaght. And as if it couldn't get any better, you're going to get lots of me on your TV or web streaming service as part of the actual broadcast. But that'll be enough of me for you guys this week. So we're going to mostly hear from the players and coaches involved. It's Templeogue BC versus Swords Thunder. First off, we're going to hear from Jason Keenan of Templeogue talking about how he's recovered from injury, having missed most of the season so far, and then from Templeogue's coach, Keenan.
Yeah, man, it's getting better and better each week. You know, I missed the first half of the season, so it was a bit upsetting with that, but the rehab is coming along very well, and each week I'm getting better and better, so looking forward to the weekend. I was fine. I mean, the fitness is there. You know, I've been working out and doing rehab all pre-season, so the fitness is there. It was just the knee, just to see if I could play pain-free basically, and it's getting to that point now. Oh, I mean, they're very, very deep. I mean, they have 8-9 guys that can score, put the ball in the basket. They're very athletic, very long, and you know, they're a good team. They're a good all-round team.
And like you mentioned how deep they are, like most of the teams, obviously the top end, you see one or two of them, they don't go 8-9, like you're used to guys going to maybe 6-7 in terms of who they have. So when you're taking on an opponent who can make that much rotation, like does it change the way you guys approach a game at all?
The trick is, we think the trick is to not change too much going into the week. I mean, we've lost one game so far this year to Swords last week, and we've won every other game, so we're not going to change anything that we do with the preparation. No, I mean, a lot of people say the monkey's off your back now, you know, you're not undefeated anymore, but in this league it's very hard to go undefeated. I mean, Demons did a great job last year of going undefeated and winning everything, but I think the likelihood of that happening 2 years in a row was very, very slim. There's too much talent and too many good teams in the league that could upset you each week. It's been great. I mean, the core, yeah, we have some older guys, but the core of the team is the Templeogue players that have come up through the ranks together, and they're at the core of the team, which is brilliant. They've been, just watching them the past 2 years developing has been outstanding. I mean, they went from a 1-17 season 2 years ago now to being in a cup final, and that's full credit to the lads that have came a long way. When you look around the room, there's been plenty of big game experience in our locker room and in their locker room, you know. I couldn't tell you how many cup finals there is in total in our locker room, so it might be with a different jersey now, but there's plenty of big game experience there. You know, but this would be the third time we play them this year, so we've played them twice in the league already. Got through, beat them by 1 in the first game, and they beat us by 11 last week. So I mean, I think we know them pretty much by now. It takes a while getting used to new players coming in, adjusting to that, but I think we'll be okay now.
And in terms of where the game's going to be won and lost for either side, like, you know, where do you see as being the key battles really on the court on Saturday night?
It's just who can control the tempo, really. I think it's not going to be a blowout either way by any means necessary. You know, it's going to be down to the little things, down to it might be one rebound or one offensive rebound that seals the deal, but it's going to be a really interesting game.
Well, it's like every cup final. You know, you want to come and perform on the night as a team, and you know, probably the fear of coming and not performing is the nervous, you know, side of it, and the downside. It's still a great buzz to get here. It's a great feeling. You know, I have that total passion for it, and I'm just delighted for the guys on the team now. You know, that the hard work that they've put in over the last 2 years. You know, and we've made great strides to get here. So for them, I just hope we come and we perform on the night. Experience of the last 2 years for some of the younger guys has been huge. You know, it was a big jump for those guys, you know, at 18, 19 years of age. So the last 2 years have stood to them. Plus the introduction of some experience to the team. You know, I think that was vital. We had to kind of do that. So I think we brought the guys we've brought in have been fantastic guys. First of all, they're great guys, you know, outside of basketball. So that fitting into the rest of the team was very simple, you know, and I think their experience rubbing off on the younger guys, attitudes, work ethic, you know, it's all been really positive. But that was the first target, you know, when I decided I was coming to Templeogue, you know, the first target was where do we need to strengthen the team, you know, at the post, you know, at the post position. The team had a great young kid, Tom Swatney, who's on the team, and he's growing now in the last 2 years, you know, by working with Jason, you know. So that we established that straight away, that we needed to add that inside presence, and then after that, let's see what what falls our way. You know, it was a fantastic for the team for Conor Grace to come involved, you know, to become involved. And again, that's probably, you know, he knows Jason very well, he knows me very well from over the years with the Irish team. And again, I think it's a tribute to the Templeogue guys, because they're all great lads. If there was a couple of bad attitude guys, it wouldn't be as attractive for the likes of Conor to come in. But we have such a great kind of unity and spirit there, built by the Templeogue guys and the guys that have come in. It's I love being a part of it. They're a dynamic team, you know.
They're fast.
Yeah. Isaac controls the pace of the game, as he has done for the last number of years. Even though we know what he's going to do, it's still very hard to stop him. And the other players, they've added, you know, some dynamic players this year with Dolenko and Garrow coming in. But I know they've had a slow start to the league, but they've come good, you know, of late. They play that small ball, okay, when they bring Garrow in for Big Dan.
And that's a big addition even for you guys as the opponent to make, because they're changing who their international is, or American on the court is from. Very much a classic interior big, an athletic one at that, to a very, very different player in Garrow.
Yeah.
Like, so for you, that must be a challenge, you know, how you adjust.
Yeah, it is a challenge, and we do have to make an adjustment with the matchups and whatever, and we'll deal with that when it happens. You know, we played them 2 weeks ago. We got a good feel of it. We played them early in the league, you know, and we got a good feel, even though Garrow wasn't there at that time, but they still ran a small lineup. So it is a big challenge for us. Size over speed, you know, how do we counteract each other in those areas? It's going to be
you've got plenty of speed yourself as well.
I'm mindful that they have to match up with us as well.
You've got to be pretty confident about the speed your own guys have, because it was speed that brought you back into that semi-final against Leicester very much. Like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we got a lot of deflections in that fourth quarter down there, which led to us getting out and, you know, getting some easy buckets when easy buckets were hard to come by.
One player in this cup final with a connection that really stood out to us here in BallinEurope is Stephen James, because Stephen's brother Conor played in last year's cup final on the losing side with UCD Marion at the hands of UCC Demons, but Conor, Stephen's brother, did win the title back in 2011. So we started off by asking Stephen, has Conor given you any advice, or is he going to give you any advice for this weekend?
Yeah, he might give me a few pointers. He won it a few years ago against Leicester, so he might have a few bits of information to share with me. But we've got experience on the team. People have won national cups themselves on the team, so I think we're going to share some stories between the team, and we'll be all right. Yeah, very happy with how this season has turned out. The last season as well. Like, every team has a shaky start when they first make the step up, but like, we have the talent. It wasn't a good year our first year, but we have the talent, and we're all capable of playing at this level. And as you can see through the last 2 years, that we've showed the league that we were runners up in the Champions Trophy last year, came third in the league. We're in the final now for the National Cup, and we're second in the league with the game in hand. Yeah, we've played them twice. We've beat them once and lost them once only last week, but we know what their strengths are, and we know where the weaknesses are, and we've gone through each individual player, and I think we have a good job. We know how to break them down, and we'll do a good job at that. It's hard not to take your mind off the weekend coming, but like, we've had a good preparation session yesterday for the week ahead, so we know what we got to do this week. And if we just stay focused on ourselves, we should be all right for the weekend. I think obviously it's a big occasion, but you got to treat it like any other game. There might be some nerves with some players, but once we get out there, I don't think the crowd, like, I know the Oblat is packed a lot, but we feed off the crowd when they get rowdy, but if things don't go our way, we don't really take notice of them. So if we just stick to our stuff, stick together, if things get a bit rough during the game, and then when things do well, then we can feed off the crowd, we'll be alright.
The opponents for James and Templeogue are Swords Thunder, Griffith College Dublin Swords Thunder to be precise, and that college reference is very important because a large number of the players in this side are students, many of whom international students who are combining their studies with basketball. We start off by asking Dave Baker about the ridiculously quick journey of Swords Thunder within 2 years of being in the top flight, getting to their first ever cup final, and what it's meant for them. Then we hear from Sergi Guardia. My apologies to all of our Spanish followers for what I'm sure is a terrible pronunciation of that name, about his experience playing and, balancing getting ready for a cup final with life as a student.
It's massive. I mean, it's stuff that when we sat down and we looked at bringing Dublin Thunder at the time together with Swords Thunder, or with the Swords Basketball Club, this is kind of what we had in mind, but we honestly didn't see it happening so quick. I mean, last year we felt that we'd done so well, coming runners up in the league, but the cup is obviously something really, really special, and last year we felt we didn't perform that great, to be honest. We got exited by UC Demons down there, so when we came across the turn up this year at UCC down there again, we felt that it was a chance for us to redeem ourselves, but at the same time in the back of your head is we haven't really showed up against Demons yet, so it was a worry from that end. But yeah, it's been an amazing trip for us so far, and we're really, really looking forward to the final. And to be honest, we were blessed this year. I mean, we don't have any paid players on the team, so our players come from the Griffith College Scholarship. So for us, we can do our best to try and recruit a bit of everything, as you said, like a centre, a guard, or two centres, just to rotate for each other. But this year we were blessed to get Dan Nelms in, who previously was at Davidson, hadn't played in a long time but was working here in Dublin through Google. So we decided to go with Dan, and then the scholarship players obviously were to benefit from that as well. So we got Mike Garrow, who at the moment is the American we're using with Dan. So Mike's a 6'4", pretty much a 2, but we have him in at the 3 at stages. So yeah, they're very, very different. So it's changing the players in and out, and the rotations is key. To be honest with you, there's not, in regards to the club and their acceleration, it's very like ourselves. They're in it a year longer than us, that's it. So we're both kind of in our infancy. But in regards to the players, I mean, Mark's put together a great team there. You got two of the biggest bigs in the country, I think the country have ever produced, and Conor Grace and Jason Killeen. Michael Bonaparte's one with nearly every team he's been with, especially in Ireland. He's a great success. So there's a lot of talent there. And I mean, Paddy Kelly's in the lineup now, who was, I believe the list came out last year, was number 6 in the top Irish players ever produced. He was the highest Dublin ranked player, so I believe he was playing in the Dublin leagues with them. They brought him into the squad for the next 2 games anyway, or for the rest of the season, because of the injury worries they have. So look, we're coming up against it. I mean, Mark's a fully paid professional coach with Templeogue. We know he's won it with everyone else before, but for us, I think we have an attitude we won't back down from anyone, and we've done that for the last 2 seasons. That while we may have struggled this year consistency-wise, we feel that on our day we can compete with anyone. For us, it's if they have a full panel, they're very, very big inside. So for us, to be very honest with you, I can sit down and mark out what we do better than Templeogue, or Templeogue do better than us. But to be honest with you, it comes down to us, and it comes down to the intensity and how well defensively we play. I feel we have enough weapons that we can attack pretty much any team in the league. We are smaller inside, apart from Dan, pretty much. We take a big jump down when we leave Dan to our inside challenge, but we feel our transition is key and our intensity on defence. So I think inside, if Templeogue utilise that, will be tough for us to compete with. But we have we're not going to change too much this week in regards to preparation for the game, but at the same time there'll be certain tweaks or certain things we would have done in the past we may not do as much this time, just to tweak it up and see how well Mark has them drilled for us this weekend.
Well, I mean, it means a lot. I mean, actually, it was like a tough pre-season, a tough when we started the league. Just because we are like a different new team, like with different players that they came from other countries, so it was tough to get as a unit and play together. But I think that after 1 month, 2 months in November, we started playing together pretty well. And well, I think that now we're playing really good, and just to reach the final cut, like, it means a lot for us. Like, it's like a good, huge chance for us and also for the club. I think it's the first time that they reach the final cup, so it's gonna be huge for our city. Well, thanks God, we just finished our exams, so from first semester. So now we are just like week holiday. So we can be more focused for the final cup, so we can chill during the day, and then we have like practice almost every day, so we can be focused for the game at least. But during the year it's tough. It's tough because we have a lot of assignments, and sometimes you are like, we have to go practice, but you have to keep going all the assignments, and then you have to like spend like the whole night like doing all the assignment. But you try to manage as much better as you can, but still it's still not bad. Well, I mean, our coach just said like, I mean, we'll have to go there like all thinking that they are the best team. They have no one they beat us in their core like from the last 2 years. Just like to play our game, and of course it was like an extra motivate all of us. Actually, they lost as you say, they lost last year in the semi-finals, but we just like play our game like really aggressive in defense, and the thing is that we play really good, and in offense we scored a lot of 3-point shots. So I think that we just play as a team, and also we have been showing like the last couple of months. So I hope it's going to happen the same on this Saturday.
And so the last two voices we're going to hear are two other international students playing with Swords Thunder, both with their own interesting backgrounds. Lastly, we're going to hear from Mike Garrow, who was playing college ball in the US, then was with a touring team in the summer, before eventually coming along, signing up as a student in Griffith College and lining out for the Thunder, where he has an interesting role as one of two Americans on the team, where of course the Irish rules mean only one of them can be in the fort at the same time, and they don't play anywhere close to the same position. But first we're going to hear from Dolenko, and the reason I found Alex particularly interesting was he played a couple of years of fully pro ball in Ukraine before suddenly having to adjust to life as a student and baller at the same time. So he's going to talk a bit about that. But first I asked him to compare the style of basketball between the Irish League and the Ukrainian League.
Like the basketball, it's a simple game, just to put the ball in the hoop. So basketball is pretty similar like everywhere in the world. But there are some differences in conditions, you know. Maybe back home in the Super League, people have more conditions, like physical conditions. And here basketball is more smart basketball. So you should move the ball and to find wide open shots. And it's not so physical as back home, and I'm not even comparing with the States. So it's quite cool. I like it. It's a great opportunity to receive the European education. As we know, Irish education system is one of the best in the world. So to improve my English, it's very good for me. And it's quite difficult to study and to have sessions. So, and to combine it all, but it took for me 2 months to adapt for it. So right now it's great. I have already talked to my friends, and I said that we have a very huge game that will be on Irish TV. So they're gonna watch the stream. So my parents, my sister, my family are gonna watch and support our team for this great final.
It's been a journey, you know. I had an agent that I was working with back in America. He got in contact with Dave, and it was a little back and forth all summer. Not really knowing sure the exact situation. I was out in Eastern Europe in Estonia, did a little tour team out there. When I got back from that, actually, Dave contacted me, and this worked out. So hopped on a plane, and here I am. I mean, it is difficult, playing as a 4 or 5, at times, but I just, it's something that I've done throughout my career, in college, playing a little bit of guard and forward at times when I had mismatches, so I'm comfortable there, and really I'm just doing whatever it's going to take me to get on the floor, if that's, going to get rebounds, having to play against a 6'9" guy, I'm going to do my best, but I think it's been going pretty well so far. They're a talented group, last time when we played them at home, they were without Mike Bonaparte. He's a one of their best players, if not one of the best players in the country. And I think it's just as long as we're playing team ball and we're moving it, we're feeling good, and I think defensively is our biggest thing. We saw versus UCC, we shot a great percentage from the field, but we also played probably our best defensive game that we've played out here. So I think if we could put all the things together and kind of take what we've learned all season from the highs and the lows and just put it together for one game, we could come out with a win.
And so that's it from the players and the coaches indeed ahead of the Irish Cup final. Now those of you following us on Twitter had known I promised there'd be some highlights mixed into this video. Being entirely honest, my day job has just been crazy this week. I love it, but whoa, it's been busy. It's been really busy. So unfortunately I just didn't have time to go through the two semi-finals again. So I'm just going to give some brief analysis here ahead of time. So looking at Templeogue, now Jason there, he's only just a bit back from injury, so he's still playing his way into fitness. There are two big injury concerns for Templeogue ahead of this final. Connor Grace, who of course was referred to heavily in this preview by both teams, not a guarantee and indeed highly unlikely to line out. And Grace, of course, has played across Europe and indeed also in Malaysia briefly, and played with Davidson Wildcats, Dan Nelms, who's on Swords Thunder's old school. So could still be an interesting Davidson versus Davidson matchup, but at the moment it's looking like that'll be a big loss to Templeogue. The other one is Michael Bonaparte, who's been out for quite a while as well for Templeogue. He's a really explosive player, lots of action with him. So both him and Grace are down. That's a huge asset for Templeogue. But don't count them out yet, because they're taking on a Swords team that is still gelling. There's a lot of new bodies here, a lot of players coming together. You might have great talents like Alex Dolenko, who has been growing with every game in the league, really getting used to the style. You see Mike Garrow coming in doing stuff, and we heard from him earlier, and Dan Nelms, who's going to be featured extensively on the site later this week ahead of the final. But here's the thing, they do a lot of work with their rotations, and I saw a lot of them against Demons. They hammered Demons, but you could see that when they had to shift out and move Nelms off and bring in Garrow, like both very talented players, but they're so different. It's a massive question for Baker and how he adjusts. So it's going to be interesting to see how they manage the Nelms-Garrow dynamic. That's all ahead of us on Saturday. You're going to have lots and lots of it to watch. And I'm going to be joined by a really good person beside me to help me break down this game live. That's Connor Meaney, who's like Connor James, Stephen's brother, in the final. Won with UCD Murray in 2011, lost last year's final, and has basically forgotten more about hoops than I'm probably ever going to know. So it'll be me and Connor standing side by side with Moira Trask and Kelly. TGCar.tv for those of you outside of Ireland. Live on TGCar, because how many of you speak Irish? TG4.tv for those of you outside of Ireland, for our great, beautiful Irish viewers who we love to bits, because come on, I'm one of y'all. TGCar live this Saturday night. It's at 8 o'clock Irish and British time, so for those of you in Central Europe, that's 9 p.m. For those of you further off, that's 10 p.m. And I'm thinking a couple of y'all, you're going to be there, you're going to be in the pub, you're going to say, hey, my buddy BallinEurope on the TV speaking some language I don't speak. Stick it up there, get it on the web, I don't know. Down your beers, watch Irish basketball. It promises to be a really explosive game, so definitely tune in, definitely join us, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. For most of you, it's going to be your first taste of Irish basketball. These are two really different teams, but explosive in their own ways, and I get excited for Irish basketball pretty easily, but I'm really hyped for this game, so definitely tune in. As ever, you can follow us on Twitter at BIE_basketball, visit the site BallinEurope, Facebook.com/BallinEurope, and of course subscribe wherever the subscribe button is down there below. We have links to the full games of both semi-finals below the YouTube description and also in the post on BIE itself, so definitely feel to tune in there. And yeah, just like, follow, subscribe, leave comments. YouTube really loves comments. I have no idea why, but apparently it's great for SEO. So yeah, and I could do with that YouTube money. Until Saturday night, and it's going to be a big Saturday night because I'm working all day beforehand. See you then.